Good day, everybody. We are back cooking today. We do have this boneless pork shoulder butt roast. We're gonna go ahead and do pulled pork with it. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing that we're going to do is grab out a bowl. I also have some brown sugar, onion powder, chili powder, garlic powder, and some paprika. So let's go ahead and start making our base or our dry rub for the pork. Alright, let's start by putting 1.5 cups of brown sugar in here. Make sure it's packed. Now that we have the brown sugar in, we are going to add in our other spices just to taste. Usually you'll be using about 2 to 3 tablespoons of each seasoning. So again, just whatever you would like to put in for your family and preferences. Perfect. Go ahead and give it a mix. Get your meat pulled out and go ahead and start using your dry rub and rubbing it all over. If you have mustard and you would like to add mustard onto it, you definitely can. It's all about personal preferences around here. So again, we're going to put our dry rub onto our meat. Alright, so this is what mine looks like. Make sure that you get it on both sides. And the longer that you can let this sit like in the refrigerator, the better. If you can prep this the night before, that would be the best option. However, I did not, so I'm just going to let it sit for probably about 40 minutes to an hour in the fridge, and then I'll come back in and we'll talk next steps. Alright, once your pork has sat for a bit, go ahead and throw it into your crock pot. Take 1 cup of chicken broth and just pour that in there. Only 1 cup because we don't want it to get too greasy or anything like that. I did go ahead and choose to use the Great Value Reduced Sodium chicken broth. Use whatever is best for you and your family. And then we're going to go ahead and start cooking this on high. And we'll check in periodically. And then later we'll go ahead and make roasted vegetables and baked beans to go along with it. Alright, now that we have that on high with our lid on, we'll see you back here in a bit. While the pork is cooking, let's go ahead and grab out another bowl and we'll prep our vegetables. That way they can kind of sit and soak up the seasonings and things before we decide to actually start cooking them. So I'm doing potatoes and carrots for our roasted vegetables. You could do whatever you would like to, of course. Let me show you what I have. Alright, so I have these baby peeled carrots. I also have these Ruby Sensation bite-sized potatoes. Now, of course, you can use bigger potatoes or whatever you would choose to do. I would suggest cutting them up, though. Let's go ahead and get our potatoes out. We're going to put them in a bowl, put some cold water over them just to get the starch out. And then we're going to let those sit for probably about a minute, drain them, and then we'll add in the carrots and start on our seasonings. Alright, our potatoes have been soaked in that cold water. Let's go ahead and add our carrots. Alright, I did go ahead and lay them out in a pan, my roasting pan, just because it's a little too much for the bowl. At this point, I didn't use all of the carrots just because it seemed like way too much for our family. So I'd say I used probably about half of them. I'm also going to go ahead and cut up an onion to put in with it. Alright, so our potatoes, carrots, and an onion has been cut up and has been put into our roasting pan. Let me go ahead and show you what seasonings we're working with today. What I'm going to do is, I don't have lemon zest, but I am going to add just a little bit of lemon juice to it. Next up, we're going to add chili powder, garlic salt, pepper, and a little bit of our paprika. Go ahead and drizzle that over the, well, season it over the top, whatever you want to do, you know. Next up, go ahead and add some vegetable oil, just enough to cover your potatoes and carrots and everything. Once you add in a little bit of oil, I'm doing vegetable, you can do whatever kind you want. Go ahead and use your hands or whatever that you use to make sure that each of the potatoes are coated in the oil. Once you're finished, it should look something like this. Now I'm going to just cover it and then set it to the side until we're ready to cook it later. Alright, so I did go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm now going to go ahead and put my vegetables in the oven, I'd say for about an hour or so. We can always check them, of course. You'll want to make sure that they are at the perfect level of tenderness for you and your family, so cooking times may vary a little bit. Don't mind my mess over there. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop this in. Alright, check back in a bit. Alright, for dinner, I am also doing some baked beans, so I'm going to go ahead and get this open and into this pot. Perfect. Give it a stir, add a lid, throw it on low, and let it cook until everything else is done. Alright, this is what our pork is looking like. It's been cooking most of the day. You're going to want your temperature to be, internal temperature to be somewhere between 200 and 225, I believe. Mine's over 200, so we're going to go ahead and pull it out and let it rest for 15 minutes before we shred. There are our vegetables after an hour. Just make sure your potatoes are at least soft. So we have those pulled out. We're going to let those rest along with our meat. Alright, it has rested for 15 minutes, so let's go ahead and start getting that shredded. Ta-da! Bon appetit! Let's eat!